If you've watched our last few videos, you'll see that some were filmed right here in Trinidad and others were filmed back when we were in Gibraltar. Now getting from Gibraltar to Trinidad, well, that's a story in itself. So here's what happened during our transatlantic crossing. We've made the call. We are finally going to leave Gibraltar. The engines are just heating up at the moment. Then we're going to motor out, refuel, and then motor into the bay where we're just going to anchor off the coast of La Linea tonight before making final departure tomorrow morning.
Might be able to go left hand down time and just let that front one off, and then it'll just swing, pivot off the back and we'll go out, you know what I mean? I love Herbert. I love Herbert so many.
Big fan of the old Steinbachs on the engines.
Big fan of the old boy.
Oh, can't wait to see the shrine you built to Herbert. After a combined 4 months in Gibraltar, 2 at the start of the year and 2 now, we are saying goodbye to this place, possibly forever. We've just got to do one last little stop at their fuel dock. I see you're wearing your Steinbauer jumper. How much do you love Steinbauer after that successful undocking? This much.
The same way I hug Herbert.
Do you want to go in the helm? Go on. Yeah, sorry, I'm at the back bending.
Tanya, did she just push me onto the wall?
And now we're going to pull up to the thankfully empty fuel dock.
Big girl. You can do it. Big girl.
Construction.
Can you direct me to this anchorage?
Yeah. We're minutes away from, we're seconds away from anchoring in La Linea, and the way we picked our anchorage and our spot is, I already knew that a lot of boats anchor here from when I lived in an apartment building just over there while I was waiting for the boat to get to Europe. But we've looked at Google Maps and we're basically parking on top of where another cat has parked, so we know it's all good. That was our apartment building. The bridle's out of the water. 3 meters. Catamaran.
Ah.
So we're just doing final prep and getting ready for dinner. Did you find your food? Did you find your food under there?
I've just downloaded the latest gas map.
We're just in the process of lifting anchor. Last night, oh my god, I barely slept. There was this one boat from about 2 in the morning until about 6. They would just come in, go to the same point at the beach, go back out. Like half an hour later, in, same point at the beach, go back out. So make of that what you will. We've lifted anchor, said goodbye to people at home, tested the iridium, downloaded the weather, and changed the insurance. So we are ready to go. The plan for the start of our trip is to cut through the Bay of Gibraltar and try to stay as close to the Moroccan coast at the start as we can. The water is a little bit rougher on that side, but the problem that we've got is orcas. So there is this pod of orcas that are becoming quite infamous along the Spanish and Portuguese coast for coming up to sailboats and pulling at the rudders. They've even managed to rip the rudders out of a couple of boats, sinking one recently, and caused hundreds of thousands of euros worth of damage. Trent and Tynan were lucky almost, because when they came into Gibraltar the first time from South Africa, they had quite a bit of wind behind them, so they came in quickly. There was another Leopard that was, I think, maybe a week behind them. They were not as fortunate, and they sustained enough damage from the orcas that they had to be hauled out in La Linea. So we do not want that to happen to us at this stage. With everything we've been through so far, we are not getting attacked by an orca. So we're doing everything we can to avoid them. We know they were in the area within the last week though, because people do report sightings online. So it's a bit nerve-wracking. Basically, we want to be past that zone, the orca zone, by the end of today. So it's all very doable, but just do not want to see orcas today.
Everyone just head this way.
Our first day of sailing has come into a close, and we're pretty happy with how it went. We've left the Strait of Gibraltar behind, can't see the Spanish coast anymore, and most importantly we have safely cleared the orca zone, so that's just a huge relief because we were so concerned. Trent was even telling me that he's now heard of 3 leopard catamarans that have run afoul of those whales. So we're just so glad that we got out without sustaining any damage. So for now the boat is pointed towards the Canary Islands, and we're not going to be checking in there because with Rose aboard and her paperwork and pet permit, it's just so much less drama to go directly from Gibraltar to Trinidad. But we might anchor or something for a night. We'll see how we go. Long day, but I think we can probably call it a successful one. At the start of our journey to the Canary Islands, we experienced beautiful sailing weather with relatively calm seas and comfortable winds. But our luck didn't last. The winds died and we spent the second half motoring. This was forgotten though, as we made our final approach and were rewarded with a sunrise over the islands and a visit from Rose's favourite creatures. We left Gibraltar on Thursday and it's now Tuesday, and we're arriving in the Canary Islands, planning on anchoring just for tonight so we can have a rest, and then we'll make the final push towards the Caribbean. Yeah, it's dolphins! I can't believe how many there are.
dolphins in there.
You should see the videos of them under Rose.
Back to do it again, watch. Look, look, look here, look here.
Without a doubt, that just made Rose's year. She has been trying so hard to spot dolphins this whole trip, and that's probably like one of the biggest pods we've seen since we came aboard. So, like, have a look, she's still running around. Since we arrived, we've set up the boat, then all just basically fell asleep. Now we're up, we're showered, and it's time for a bit of a treat. Yum. You want some?
Upbeatish.
Nothing I love more than food.
That slipped out.
Soon the sun should be coming up over the horizon, and we're all up and ready to go because we're expecting the wind to switch very soon, which is why we need to leave here. This anchorage is protected from the particular winds that we wanted to avoid yesterday, but today it's going to change directions, which will push us further south, which is good for us. But yeah, you definitely wouldn't want to be here tonight. Captain is caffeinated and ready to go. Deck boy is caffeinated and ready to go. The further south we travelled, the more peaceful it became. It became apparent that we were in for weeks of slow code zero sailing with little wind and following seas.
Chasing Chinook. I think it's teamwork. I've got bigger spanners.
Well, we've got the impact kit, the black kit.
I don't know how big they go though. I don't think they're much bigger. Like something busted in there. Why I'm so concerned is if it binds up completely and your own part will just go ping snap.
The sun is going down and we're settling in for the first night with these steering problems. We're just in the process of contacting people on land to see if anyone can help us with how we can try and manage this steering problem. We're not really sure if we can pull this apart and service it. They've been told in the past that it's a sealed unit. We don't want to pull it apart and then just have the components fall out. We have taken the lock off the front and we've lubricated through into there as much as we can, but hopefully someone can get in touch with Luma or somebody who knows the system who can help us.
The one I need is a clip.
We've scavenged the original Code Zero furler. Absolute potato of a thing. Absolute giant potato of a thing. So we scavenged the friction ring off it to finalise our new Code Zero furler, the Facnol one, which has been excellent. And we scavenged the elastic of it. My brake's broken. Most likely we'll pull it apart and find out in Trinidad. Leopard's been assisting me over satellite phone, which is great, and I appreciate that. And we've worked out that it's highly unlikely that it's the bearings that have failed that jammed up the steering. It's probably a disintegration, like a breakdown of the so it's an epoxy and fiberglass brake that's inside. The advice is just to keep filling the brake with lubricant so the broken pieces don't catch, which is working at the moment. I figured that out by myself, but it's good to hear it reiterated by somebody that's actually I think that Leopard actually got someone to deconstruct the unit and look inside of it, because no one could get hold of the Robinson and Kane drawings, because it's a custom part Lumar made for Robinson and Kane. But yeah, fascinating. Exactly the sort of things you don't want to deal with on crossing. I do suggest that you put these spin lock clutches in. They're great. Totally off topic. I'm out of here.
For the remainder of the crossing, we monitored and lubricated the steering and tried to just enjoy ourselves best we could.
Great.
She's so cute.
Alright, go. Quick. That's it. That's it, baby girl. Good dog.
Then finally, after over 4 weeks at sea, we spotted something quite welcome in the distance.
We've been at sea for over a month now and we are expecting to arrive in Trinidad tomorrow. So over the last couple of days we've actually started seeing boats again. We went from seeing no boats for weeks to literally having a fishing boat 100 meters behind us. Today we can see all the oil platforms over there that are off the coast of Trinidad, and we're expecting to be able to see Trinidad and Tobago within the next 3 or 4 hours. So I can't believe we've almost crossed an ocean.
Bring it up, quick. More. Don't grab the tail with the rag or something.
I literally tried and jump down off the roof because we went through to the side of a whole bunch of tuna.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, no.
We were looking and there were all these seabirds around us and the flying fish started, so we figured the tuna must be around. Put the rod out and literally within 45 seconds we'd hooked a tuna. So that's good because we were running low on food and now we've got to make that tuna.
We didn't go over the bait hole.
Feeling like master fisherman?
Yeah, I was like, put it out. Bang, zip.
Did you see them catch a fish?
Then the next thing you do is cut the other side. I'll let you do this one there. You can stop if you really love tuna. And you go from its ass to when the knife stops here.
You're the captain, I think you get to call it.
Land ho!
Oh my god, that's Trinidad, up there.
Trini!
Yes! So, this has happened a bit earlier than expected, but we can see Tobago out that way, and Trinidad is at the front. I don't know if the camera can pick them up because they're still through the pollution and the haze and the humidity, but I can assure you they are there and I'm very happy to see them. after almost a month at sea, we've reached Trinidad. So we're out of the Atlantic now, we're in the Caribbean. It's humid, the air smells like dirt and forest. It's been raining. 20 minutes after I got drenched, I'm dry again, I love it. The sail, I'm so happy that we had no major issues. In the end, we were able to manage the steering and we can fix that here. It's such a relief. What's out there? What's out there? So our final destination's just over there. Today is day 3 in Trinidad and the last 2 have been insanely busy. Today is haul out day, so it's about 6:30 in the morning now and we're getting hauled out at 8:30. They have a specially designed catamaran trailer at powerboats, which is where we're going to be getting hauled out. They've hauled about 800 catamarans on it, which is great, and they even showed us some photos of other B3 series Leopards getting hauled out on it, so that's cool as well. So I think it's going to be a very busy morning, and by about lunchtime we'll probably just be puddles on the floor inside, ready for a nap.
Do it now, because I'm heading over now.
Let's come in, go reverse that door, come right there. Lovely, really good, man. Properly like. Alright, we're definitely gonna walk in now. Brent, kill the motor. A little bit more. I see it every day, so don't worry. Every time we do it, we have people, you are calm, trust me. I have people that will freaking out, you know?
I know I can drive the boat,
Nice.
but all I can do is put it here.
Alright, what we're doing now, we caught the boat,
Yeah.
right? It's still, right? So they're checking, or they're going through the process and checking the hard points and making sure everything is where we should have it. Because when we figure out what is strong and soft, then we lift. Don't lift other than that.
That's why I leave them alone.
Yeah.
I stay calm. So
Right, stay calm. Then, when we start lifting, it's not your lift. It's a test, just to make sure we're happy. And if it sounds good and everything's great, then we out. If not, go back down and we start over again until we have it perfect.
They're reverse parking your boat on a trailer.
That's in line with your trailers. The other two, tight to the back of the mast and then. That's it? One more. Ready?
And with that, we're safely lifted back on the hard stand.
Like, it's not a little bit of stretch, it's an absurd amount of stretch.
It was.
The bearing may have collapsed.
We checked the tension in Canary Islands before we left, and
Alright.
we checked the tension again when we had the grinding noise on the steering wheel.
This one's the same.
Come
No,
on.
you come around here and look at how much stretch there is since the Canary Islands on the autopilot train.
So I'm up in here just to show you what's actually going on from this side, so you can see just how loose this chain is, because honestly from the bottom it doesn't do it justice. Ooh, wiggly. What chains are not supposed to do?
When that bearing or the lock-in sides failed in that hub, it's locked. Obviously we've not noticed it, and the autopilot's just gone and just stretched the chain, and then so the hub's failed in some capacity that has the steering wheel on it. Now it's likely that when that's bound up, which it was binding up completely, and you had to overcome it with force, it's likely that when that's bound up, it stretched this stainless steel chain attached to this autopilot, possibly put massive undue wear on the autopilot. Now we've got a situation where this is super noisy again, in a different way to last time. Yep. Ready?
Yeah.
Cool. That bearing doesn't click. That's interesting. Spin them. Put your fingers in and spin each one.
You don't have to tell me twice to put the fingers in.
That's interesting though. One of those bearings goes.
Oh yeah.
Now go to the other one. Alright. This is the bearing. It's extremely dry. This bearing has no grease in it. It had like the tiniest touch of grease in one corner. There is oil in there.
There's just, what, between those two parts of the bearing and that's it?
That's it. That
Shouldn't
should
it be
like
greased the whole
full
way
of grease.
around?
Yeah, it should be full of grease. Hear it? As you heard, when it sat on a clean rod and both of the centers stayed still, so neither one was spinning, so it wasn't clicking on the rod, they're both static as you saw in the video, it starts making a clicking noise. And to keep in mind, it's full of oil. There's very little grease in it though, very little.
So to fix this we need a new bearing?
Oh yeah, it's a new bearing, but I mean it's a warranty issue, so. And I put fully synthetic oil in there. I pushed it in there. This has even less grease than the other one has. And being that they're soft, presumably marine grade stainless, like that's not ideal. This actually does have play in it. This front one.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Now this seal's out. The seal was like masking a bit of the play. So the back bearing has no play, but this front bearing definitely has play in it. It just must be the way that it has so much pressure side loading it. There must be something inside of it, because there's massive pressure hanging out here. Where's that thing on?
What thing?
The thing right in front of me. You've got massive pressure hanging out here, pulling down that way, which something inside of this bearing, you'd actually have to dissect it further, which we're not going to do because it's a blatant warranty issue. Something inside of this bearing has caused it to jam up. I'd speculate one of the little rollers is maybe cracked or broken or malformed. And it's definitely wobbling, which is interesting. So I'm gonna walk the dog.